Deion Sanders on the Colorado roster. He said we inherited some bull junk. But before we get off into it, you come across this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you got your post notifications on so you'll know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. And if this is your first time coming across the channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, post your comments, share the video out. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. I see everybody in the comments section. #salute. Well, let's get right off into it. Now, you know, Deion Sanders is no stranger to the media. And what Deion Sanders has done over these last couple weeks, you know, adding players from the transfer portal, his name stays in the highlights. His name stays in the media. So what Deion Sanders has done now is Deion Sanders just keeping it real. If you guys realize when Deion Sanders took over that team in December of 2022, and if you recall the first meeting that he ever had with the players that was on the roster, and he was telling them that, you know, some of you guys, y'all not built for this. I mean, you can jump in the transfer portal. A lot of people took exception to that when Deion Sanders said, I got Louis and we coming, and just gave his son Shedeur Sanders the starting quarterback job. A lot of people felt slighted by that. A lot of guys that he brought along the way that came from Jackson State and other programs, he flipped the roster. He brought in 75 new players, and they tried to retool some things. The roster that he inherited, he said it was some bull junk. He said changes was needed, was definitely needed. You know, Colorado was coming off a 1-11 season. They got 3 extra wins in 2023, but Deion was starting to make progress. He had a coaching staff that he brought in, but as we know now, the coaching staff has moved on. Deion Sanders has replaced their offensive coordinator, and Sean Lewis gave that reign to Pat Shurmur. Now he's still looking for a defensive coordinator, which that announcement should come soon. But as far as that roster, he said that roster was flawed. Now, you know, Deion Sanders is going to keep it a buck when he talks about, you know, what's going on in Colorado and what's going on with the Colorado Buffaloes roster. He was recently on Undisputed talking with Skip Bayless and Keyshawn Johnson. Let's take a listen to what he said pertaining to what the roster entailed when he took over the team.
We looked at amongst the others it was beautiful. It was phenomenal.
Beautiful. So, Coach, as you look back on all that transpired this past football season, your first in Boulder, what does it leave you feeling? What's your reflection on what all transpired?
We instilled hope in our fans, our student body, as well as the faculty and everybody associated with the Colorado Buffaloes. But now it's time to go cash in on that. Yep. It's time to go do it for real. It's time to put up or shut up and let's go get it. So we went out and not filled the roster once again, but we got some players in which we needed in valuable positions, especially the offensive line.
Yeah.
Prime, other than leaving the Pac-12 conference and going to the Big 12 conference, what will be different for you guys this year opposed to the way things ended last year?
The personnel, first of all, you know what you need, and you went out and got what you needed. The roster was so horrendous, we had to flip it. I mean, you know, you guys know, we inherited some bull junk. So we flipped it. Now we really have what we need, not just bodies just walking around aimlessly, as well as the coaching staff. And we're probably going to hire a defensive coordinator within the next 2 days, maybe today, maybe even today, but in the next 2 days, because we had to allow those pro guys to get all those interviews out now. We identified a few of them because I want a pro guy that it can teach and instruct at another level. That's what we have on the offense. That's what we pretty much have on the whole darn staff. Is guys that have taught and played the pro game, because that's where these guys are headed. And I want to give them the navigational system to get there. But I'm excited about the season, Key, and I feel like we have everything we need to be successful.
So, Coach, what % better are you next year after your recruiting and your portal? What percentage leap do you think you could take next year?
Now, you heard what Deion Sanders had to say, and a lot of the statements that he said is actual facts. The roster was flawed. He did address things that he needed. Now, as a head coach, you know what your team needs. And he went out and addressed that issue in the transfer portal. So he basically was saying the roster that he inherited when he took over the team in 2022, leading into the 2023 season, was a bunch of bull junk. I don't know who he's speaking to. I don't know if he's taking shots at the players that was on the roster with their skill set. A lot of people might take exception to what Deion Sanders said, but basically Deion Sanders was, shooting shots. But I don't see nothing wrong with the comments he stated. Like I stated, as a head coach, you know what you need. And like he said, he went out and addressed what he needed. I know that the season didn't unfold the way he wanted to. Ending the season at 4-8. I've always stated the Stanford loss, that was a crucial loss. That you going into halftime and you're up 29-0, and you come out and you lose that game in the overtime. That kind of, put the team back. That bowl game that they wanted to participate in, that knocked them out of contention. But as a head coach, like I stated, you know what your roster needs, and he went out and addressed that. But a lot of people are going to take exception to the things that Deion said, because you guys remember that first team meeting. After that, a lot of people went to the internet, a lot of major media outlets crucified Deion Sanders for what he said to them kids, to really derail their hopes and dreams as being a Colorado Buffalo. But Deion Sanders just keeps it 100. And what he said was it's facts. If you look at it, hindsight is 20/20. But if you look at it, the things that Deion Sanders has been saying all along is true. Deion Sanders is trying to build a winning program. He is trying to change the culture in Boulder, Colorado. And thus far, he has done that. And he's on his way to building something special. And why not build it special when you got two of your sons playing underneath of you? One of them is in highly regards as probably a top 10 NFL prospect as a quarterback. Also, you got the safety in Shiloh Sanders, projected, to go second round in the NFL. But, his star quarterback in Shador, he's projected to go at least top 10, top 15 in NFL draft when his time is up in college. Also, you got the likes of a Travis Hunter that he brought from Jackson State. A lot of guys that came in. Dylan Edwards, he's been coaching Dylan Edwards since he was a youth. Now the new acquisition that they got in BJ Green from Arizona State that flipped his commitment, he was under the tutelage of Deion Sanders when he was a youth. So, these guys are familiar with Coach Prime. Deion Sanders has done a great job on, revitalizing this roster and getting things that he needs down in Boulder, Colorado. The coaching staff is on board. Like I stated, he's still looking to hire that defensive coordinator and that defensive line coach. There's a lot of speculation going on out there now from the major media and from the internet, from certain videos, from certain channels saying that, Anthony Weaver, Baltimore Ravens assistant defensive line coach, might be a potential candidate for the defensive coordinator. Now, the Baltimore Ravens just lost Mike McDonald to the Seattle Seahawks. Now he's accepted the Seattle Seahawks head coaching position, and that puts Anthony Weaver in line to probably take over as the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. So I don't know how true the reports are that Anthony Weaver might be a candidate for the defensive coordinator position in Colorado, but we haven't heard any, news on that. But as soon as it breaks, I'll bring it to you guys. But at this time, Deion just made it abundantly clear that the roster that he inherited, it was some bull junk. I mean, a lot of people might not like the way Deion said it. A lot of things that Deion says people don't like, and they slander him and critique him, such as a Jason Whitlock and things like that. But Deion knows what he needs, and he's building something special in Boulder. And like I said, the Colorado Buffaloes is trending in the right direction, regardless if you like it or not. They just have to go on the field and perform in 2024, because on paper, with the names that they brought in, it looks good. But now you got to go out there and perform. So you guys, let me know what y'all think down in the comments section. Please post your comments. Please share the video out. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
Another one.